Best of r/Tales from Tech Support episode 23. I'm not in tech support myself, but found myself doing some impromptu work in the field earlier today. My wife and I were at the dentist's office for some routine cleaning and x-rays. I stayed out in the waiting room for a few minutes to finish paperwork, and when I head back I find my wife standing helplessly by the x-ray machine while two nurses and a dentist, all of who were clearly capable, competent people, staring at the little screen on the machine. After rebooting it twice, the dentist shrugged and declared it broken, asking the nurses to call tech support. Morbid curiosity led me to look at the screen, which had a big box declaring that the emergency stop had been pressed. The most cursory of examinations revealed a large, prominent red button on the side, and I couldn't stop myself from asking, did anyone check the emergency stop? Yes, but that can't be it, a nurse said as she reached over. It isn't. Click. One light tug, the button popped up, and the machine happily hummed into life. And I'm sorry, but how was that not literally the first thing you tried? I've always had some doubt about the most egregious users on this sub, and I do not. Thank you. Next. Fun little event that happened the other day. I work with a mortgage servicing company's marketing software and am responsible for administration and development of the platform. We had recently developed a landing page that auto-populates data in the form based on what we have. A weird caveat was they don't want individuals updating their email in this form, though they allow them to change it. This will come into play later. The initial launch of the form was rocky. 1,000 recipients total developed for one email at a time. Unfortunately, the uppers decided they wanted to launch it with a second email less than 6 hours before the launch. Since my understanding was it would be one email at a time for the foreseeable future, I didn't bulkify the code. A couple headaches and band-aid coding lines in the launch later and another broken link email sent. Thankfully not my head there. We get through the launch and execs said it's a success. I wasn't satisfied with that being the launch and insisted we do some more testing with multiple emails before we launch again. My boss says okay and we move forward. Come the day they want to launch new creatives, I asked about if this will use the landing page. I get shaky yes/no answers, so, in the interest of not breaking it for others who might still be going into it, I don't touch anything. Then, a few hours before launch, all of a sudden we are going to use the landing page. The COO is questioning my boss why we aren't using it yet since the launch went so well. She comes to me and puts on the heat. I reminded her we needed to test. She said, well, use the team, let's test and get this out there. Sigh. Some more scrambling and testing later, I stand up the bulkified code. Thankfully it was all relatively easy to set up and just had to point the front end code to a different table once it was ready. We launched the emails over 2 days to 170k customers and it looks fantastic. A couple why are these numbers here questions, but nothing suggesting the core functionality failed for anybody. Until I am pulling together the report for the last 2 days and building a funnel from emails sent to calls made based on the form. There was a bug in the form's activity log where it gave weird email IDs, used to identify which creative was sent. So I pulled it all into Excel and began matching send date to email ID and fixing the SQL so it stops sucking. However, I noticed 7 records did not match. This was strange to me. The system uses email address as a unique identifier for the contact, and the data team lumps loan information into the contact because what does data structure matter at all? Anyways, I figure I just messed up my index match and rewrote it. Still no match. Not sweating yet, just confused. I go into the system and pull up the audiences we sent to. I look up the email address. Table 1, no email, okay expected. Table 2, no email. Table 3, no email. Fuck. What this implies is that the system has no record of the person receiving the email, but they did fill out the form. I double checked the system's contact ID field, another unique identifier, and it's pointing to a totally different person. This engages panic mode. The only reasonable conclusion that I can reach at this moment is that the contact ID was scrambled away from the email address and was mismatching the data it was presenting to the recipient. This is a huge no-no, like legal trouble for the company no-no. Not only that, it had already been sent to 170,000 people. I frantically pulled up our source of truth and started desperately matching those 7 records. Loan numbers match the recipient, so at least that much wasn't broken, but it only reaffirms my concern. At this point I was about to pack my things and run out the door before anyone noticed. I definitely considered it, but then, I had an idea. A buddy in marketing was kind enough to throw ideas back and forth off the record to figure this thing out. He reminded me that other reports are matched on loan number. I can look up loan number against the sent emails and verify the right data was sent. This was the ticket. I pull up the send records for the last week and search up the LN. The email address matches the one we have on record, matches the source of truth. Ladies and gentlemen, the data was not scrambled. But, why did my lookup fail on those 7 records? Well, in my 2 fits of scrambled coding I had told the system to insert their email address on page 2 of the form. That meant if they changed the email address on the form, it was put into the table which the reporting was built. Copy/paste got me. I simply removed that field from the upsert and the problem was fixed. A few minutes of cleanup Monday and we'll be back to 100%. Nearly gave me a heart attack, though. Thank you. Next. Disclaimer. I am not an IT professional in any way, shape or form, so apologies if I do not use correct terms. I'm the guy on the office floor who knows enough to be useful and also a complete menace to any IT department. E.g. I know how to map drives and hardware, configure basic settings and most importantly how to turn it off and on again. So IT usually has a love-hate relationship with me, as most people on the floor ask me for help before going to the effort of contacting IT, fielding all the crap queries, but on occasion I'll break it bad and cause them headaches to fix. Anyway, onto the story. About 10 years ago I worked in payroll for a global outsourced payroll processing company that used multiple front-end interfaces to process the data. One of these programs was cloud-based, I think, and had a very common fault. If a user did not log out correctly and crashed out for whatever reason, they would sometimes not be able to log back into that program as it would say they are already logged in. The fix is very simple and straightforward. Call IT, ask them to go to the remote server that this program is running from, and delete the instance that is locked to that user. Our company had some internal IT for hardware maintenance and outsourced the rest to offshore Indian call centers. Now I'm not a hater of offshore call centers provided the service center rep knows more than an untrained monkey like me. Unfortunately, more than a few tier 1 support staff seem to be call center folk who cannot go off script. Not sure if this is policy or lack of knowledge on their part, so I try not to judge overly harsh. Their default response to nearly every scenario was to get your computer id so they could remote in and mess about with your computer settings. 90% of the time they would lose the mapping to drives, printers or email customization somehow. This meant no one wanted to call them unless they really had to. One of my staff had the issue of a ghost instance locking them out, so I instructed her to call IT, explain they need to delete her instance from the remote server, and under no circumstances is she to allow them to remote into her computer because it cannot be fixed from the local system. 30 minutes later I come back from a meeting and ask how it's going, only to find out that she's watching her screen as they've remoted into her computer and are messing around in the control panel. I was a bit annoyed as a 2-minute maximum job has wasted 30 minutes of my staff's time. I proceeded to have an argument with the IT person via notepad on screen, explaining that they need to delete the instance on the remote server and there is nothing they can do from this machine. They kept trying to go through the numbers on their default checklist, looking through systems and programs that have nothing to do with the issue. Conversation kept going around in circles before I gave up and ended the remote access. Phoned IT support again and went over the same argument with the next person that they didn't need to remote in before being escalated to tier 2. Tier 2 has wonderful people that know so much more than me, understood the problem as I explained it and resolved it in seconds. I just wish IT call centers either employed fully trained staff or allowed them to go off script whatever the underlying issue may be, as it ruins the benefits to a business outsourcing. Thank you. Next. I work in tech support and have always been the go-to guy in my family for everything technical since I was about 6. One day I get a phone call from my dad saying that my granddad's internet isn't working and I need to go look at it. My dad won't have looked at it, my granddad will have just mentioned it in passing. I call my granddad and ask what's happened. He informs me that the internet isn't working. It says there's a cable unplugged. Now my granddad is quite old and does well with computers for his age. But there must be 100 post-it notes of instructions on how to save things and copy things from previous conversations with me on his desk. I tell him okay, I'll be over in an hour. I get there, mine my way through post-it mountain. First, just cause it's easy to reach, I check the router cables and the cables in the back of the computer. Nothing, all fine. I boot the computer, open the internet, stick on a YouTube video, all good. I shout him through. Me, it's all working, look. I open Internet Explorer and show him a video. Granddad, no, not that. It's the internet that isn't working. Me, which button did you press? Granddad points to Outlook. The internet, that one. I open Outlook and the first thing that pops up is an error informing me there is a missing plugin. Facepalm, I didn't bother trying to explain to him what a plugin was. Just that his internet is fine and everything is plugged in. I fixed the error and let him get back to his emails. He does great for an old guy, but he makes me laugh sometimes. Thank you. Next. TL. Doctor, communication is key. $ coworker, not happy. $ me, obvious. $ application admin, has no clue about procedures or projects. $ coworker, at %% and % me. What's up? $ coworker, looking like he wants to do a tabla flip. Them bastards. Them idiots. Who knows? It can't be. $ coworker, you know the $ application that we have been working on to get it to run on the new machines? For about 3 weeks? $ me. Yeah, we finally got it to roll out without errors and the licensing drama has been solved because we appear to have another license that we can swap around between the systems. $ coworker, I had made an appointment for the vendor to come over so we could migrate the whole thing in one go. Then he informs me there's a new version of the web portal that has basically all the functionality included that they are using the client software for. $ me, at %% and %, $and %. coworker, well, Miss $st for brains that is supposed to manage this software apparently knew this was coming. $ me, for how long did she know? $ coworker, considering the new portal already has been rolled out to the production environment, at least a few weeks. $ me, I guess I'll remove the shortcut to the client software so all they need is the shortcut to the web portal then. I give up. The level of incompetence of some people around here isn't funny anymore. Thank you. Next. These are a bunch of tales from people who should know better. Basically, I have a bunch of facepalm stories where people with master's degrees in computer engineering or computer science fail to see a simple problem because they are looking for a serious issue. All of these are simply too short for my normal posts, so here we go. Wireless woes. I have several tales that all involve wireless devices. This one is just the most glaring example of mismanagement. An important VP at my company is having an issue with her PC constantly freezing up. She states that she would be using it and suddenly the keyboard and mouse would stop working. CAD doesn't bring up the menu, spam clicking the mouse doesn't do anything, and mashing the keyboard doesn't resolve the issue. After 10-20 seconds the computer will unfreeze and she is able to work again. First tech, remote not in person, had them restart the PC and it seemed to work just fine for a while. It happened again and was escalated to the supervisor, me also remote support, and I asked her if she had experienced any other issues. Slow loading, programs crashing, programs displaying data incorrectly or the laptop fan sounding like a jet engine. No to all of these. Just the freezing issue. Event viewer showed nothing, so I updated all of her drivers, BIOS, and ran Windows updates. Happened again and the head network admin took a look. Why? She is an important VP and everyone saw an opportunity to look smart. He ran network tests and saw she was getting packet loss from her location. They put in an order to have another patch cable dropped into her wall jack and called it good. It happened again and the system admin was voluntold to go fix the issue. He re-imaged her machine. It happened again. The VP over infrastructure said that clearly her laptop was broken, that it must be replaced. The head of orders told me that her laptop was a 3K custom laptop to support her GFX needs as she create YouTube and Facebook ads. I walk over to her desk and notice several things. She has a wireless mouse and keyboard that was not Bluetooth. actually ran off Wi-Fi, and had no fewer than 7 wireless devices in her office: Fitbit watch, her phone, iPad, Kindle, wireless headphones, her car's remote start on her desk, and a personal printer hooked up through Wi-Fi. She said the wireless keyboard and mouse had new batteries put in several times, so that can't be the issue. I noticed the Windows 7 compatible sticker that was half peeled off on the keyboard and smile. I replaced her keyboard and mouse with a wired set and she never had the freezing problem again. Although she was miffed at no longer getting a new laptop and kept trying to make up IT issues so that the company would buy her a new laptop. The company bought her a new laptop 2 months later after the CFO demanded it. But hey, at least I fixed the freezing issue, right? Okay, I know that a bunch of wireless devices causing interference with wireless mouse and keyboard isn't necessarily basic, but it is the physical layer and should have been looked at well before it reached that stage. No one is able to connect to my printer. Ticket came into the support queue and was forwarded from infrastructure. Only one person is able to connect to her printer. Several people reading that probably already knows the issue. I looked at the history of the ticket and saw just a huge amount of notes. The printer had been replaced twice, at the cost of the company. A tech comes out and sets it up. Everyone in office is able to connect to it. After the person leaves, everyone but one person loses connection to it. After reading this, I had a hunch, so I called the person up who was able to connect to it. I connect to this one person and see the issue immediately. Connected through USB. $me, sir. When you connect through USB, you cut off access to everyone else in the office. The printer only allows one type of connection: wired to your network, wireless to your network, and USB to one computer only. I walk him through reconnecting the printer to the Wi-Fi, get everyone in his office connected to the printer again, and tell him to throw the USB cable away. Once again, physical layer. The tech who replaced the printer should have seen the issue immediately. He should have reconnected the original printer to the Wi-Fi and got everyone back onto the printer. The tap dancer. Call comes into overflow and I pick up. $me. Hello, this is me with IT. $user. Hello. I have an issue with my docking station. It keeps disconnecting me. $me. Okay. Can you describe exactly what is happening? $user. Yes. I will be working and all of a sudden my screens will go blank. My mouse and keyboard lose their LED lights, but my PC is still on. I can open it up and still work. They usually reconnect after a few seconds. I think it over. $me. Okay, it sounds like your dock is losing connection. I see you are working in the corp office in the best state. Is this correct? $user. Yes. I'm at the one office with the thing at the place. $me. Okay, here is what I will do. I will go ahead and update all of the drivers and update your BIOS. This may not fix the issue. I have to do this before the desk side team will take the ticket though, so I am going to go ahead and do this. If this happens again, call me back at my direct line or call into the support queue and give them this ticket number. $user. Sounds good. I update literally every driver that Dell has on its website for the device so the desk side doesn't send the ticket back to me. I update the BIOS. I update Windows. He calls back an hour later, so I put in the desk side ticket and reference the ticket number 1. I do not see this again for 5 days. The desk side team replaced his dock and his laptop and it was still happening. I am called to his desk to see what could be the issue. $DS equals desk side. $me. So I am guessing we also replaced all of the cables, correct? $DS. No, we haven't done that. $me. I know it's a long shot, but we have replaced everything else. Might as well replace the cables. Now half the reason I say replace the cables is so they check the cables. I do not say check the cables because people get defensive. Oh, of course I check the cables. Or something like that. When I say replace the cables, they shrug and think worth a shot. I ask her to start with the power. Desk side pulls the power cable from the dock and crawls underneath the desk and stop. $DS. Hey user, do you tap your feet? $user. Yes, why? $me. Because your power cord is probably halfway hanging out. $DS. Yes. She crawls back out from under the desk with an embarrassed look. $DS. I plugged the dock into your power strip. For some reason it was plugged into the wall. This UHH. This shouldn't happen anymore. Internet and nowhere. Another one from the office building. To prevent issues with Windows trying to use Wi-Fi and Ethernet at the same time, Wi-Fi is disabled in BIOS upon Ethernet detection. Sometimes this has the unfortunate effect of activating when a docking station is plugged in. The dock doesn't even need an Ethernet cable plugged in to have this happen. It's just a glitch in the driver. VIP user that was stolen from another company, so to speak, had issues on his first day with his internet not working at his desk. Because he is the golden child of the month, I am personally asked by the CIO to come figure out the problem. I get to the office to see infrastructure guys testing the wall jack to make sure it's live. It was. One of network admins was on the VIP's PC and updating the drivers. He had pulled the laptop off the dock so that Wi-Fi would work. While that is going, I took a look at the setup. Cisco IP phone has PO plugged into the 10/100/1000/SW port and a black Ethernet cable running from the 10/100/1000/PC port. The docking station had a yellow Ethernet cable. $me, UHH. Hey guys, I pull both Ethernet cables up and show the two guys in the room the loose ends. I unplug the black Ethernet cable from the phone's PC port and plug the end of the yellow cable into it. $me. This is the exact reason we color code these. All of these were situations where people who knew better tried to be clever. Honestly, I see this way more than I should. A sysadmin who chases down a phantom intrusion when in reality two people had their mice plugged into each other's docks by a mischievous coworker. A network admin running unnecessary updates on a PC that simply needed a reboot. These moments are kind of rare, but always epic. Thank you. Next. Hello there, it's me again, the friendly newbie IT guy. May I offer you a new story in these trying times? Nani saw? For context, I'm Brazilian, working in a car factory that has a lot of Japanese people working in management roles. One day, I got an assignment to swap the computer of a Japanese guy. Sure, no problem, they know at least English, so I can work with that. I come to the user's table and start introducing myself in English, fully expecting him to only know Japanese or broken English, like the rest of the others. Me, hi mister, I'm from the IT team and not so Japanese dude, hola, vokivio troca mu computer? Hi, are you going to swap my machine? Cue surprise Pikachu face when he talked to me in fluent Portuguese, and explained that he is only the son of a Japanese native with a Brazilian. And that's how he got the nickname Knockoff Japanese from the rollout team. Anyway, after surprise cleared up, I proceeded to swap his machine, learning that he is a major geek and loves strategy games as well as D&D. So, needless to say, we kind of chatted for most of the 3 hours required to finish the procedure. Later, after everything was finished, he was showing me some of the tickets he sent to the IT team in the past, the best being: please check demonic noises coming from the printer. Request to bring the language button back from the depths of nothingness where it may have gotten stuck. Purchase of new monitor after old one running out of mana. And others of the sort. Anyway, hope you enjoy this long, but mostly boring story of the knockoff geeky Japanese.